Please give a warm welcome to cinematographer Sunil K.S., actor Jimmy Jean Lewis, and writer-director Blessy. The cinematographer and the... Oh.
Come closer.
Yeah, they're coming. I'll start with the cinematographer, Sunil. What an amazing job you've done throughout this entire movie, but I was struck when you shoot Ibrahim in the desert, it's always during sunrise. Is that correct?
Yes, very much.
And then you tell us about the significance of always shooting him in sunrise.
Yep. Actually, the director, Mr. Blessy, portrayed Ibrahim Qadri as a resemblance of Buddha. So initially, we thought of making him portray in the sunrise. Every time when Ibrahim Qadri, the introduction scene, if you see that it's on a sunrise scene, and when he goes back from this movie, it's a sun dip, like the last light. He's going off from this cinema.
Yeah, correct. When we last see him is dusk.
Yeah, the dusk, yeah.
But how difficult was it to capture, sunrise all the time? I mean, there are scenes that go for a very long time, but you only capture a few minutes.
Actually, it was shot in multiple days, multiple sunrise. We used to start very early, around 4:30. We used to start and roll by 6:30 and take 2 shots. The maximum we can shoot is like 2 hours, maybe 1.5 hours. Then the same exercise happens the next day. It was done like that. And the day was parted by 4, and the script scenes were fitted like that. Kind of 4 parts of a day.
But this, what you're mentioning, encompasses the entire film. So, because I noticed when we're watching the film, we're watching the same scene, but there's slight changes of light, meaning that the time is passing by, but it's the same scene.
Yep.
How taxing was it for you to shoot, a small sequence, but you're capturing the sunlight, the time lapse?
Actually, maybe the toughest part was like the Najib and what's this guy? Hakim meeting scene. That was after the rain, the sun opens, and that was the toughest scene. I think just every day water. The desert has to be wet in that scene because it's just after the rain. So it was a big process, like wetting the whole desert, and the shooting window was around just 45 to 1 hour, I think. We just hardly rolled 2 shots a day. Like, I think that scene itself took around 1 week of shooting, actually. Just the meeting sequence, the both of them.
You mean the scene between Hakim and Najib, which is like in the second half of the film.
Second half of the movie, yeah.
So that was the hardest sequence to...
It was the toughest scene to shoot in terms of lighting continuity, yeah.
But it's meant to be this beautifully idyllic moment. The hard part of it, was it because you wanted just the perfect light for it?
Yep. Some days the shooting got cancelled also because once the wind blows, the sun quality changes, the light quality changes. And it's just huge money involved in that shooting because all the water has to come very long way into that location, and yes, it was a very tough thing.
Well, Jimmy Jean, thanks for being here tonight. Your character it's such a welcoming character halfway through the movie. He mentioned that he is like Buddha.
I am God.
Well, you are. Tell us about how do you approach playing a character that is supposed to be if he feels like an angel that appears.
Yeah, I think one of the first meetings with Blessy was about what we expected of Ibrahim. He's the kind of guy that he's godly and he's there to actually save those two guys, you know, and how whatever we needed to put on our side to portray that was, you know, we went for it, you know. So we had lengthy conversation about that, and we were very clear on what we wanted. So me as an actor, I tried to dig deep and get to that, you know. I had one mission and, you know, try to do my best.
What one of the most beautiful things about your character is the humanity, that in the circumstances, you're not thinking about your own livelihood.
Yeah, and for me it was very important because, you know, I mean, I'm a black man who have lived all over the world, you know, from Europe to Africa to America to all parts of the world. And there is always a connotation that comes with someone like me. And as you can see at the end of the movie, he's being portrayed as a criminal. Because we see him, you know, we see his picture at the police station. But obviously he's not, because what he showcased is not something that a criminal will do. So for me, it was very important to really portray Ibrahim the best possible way, because for me there is a deeper message to that as well. And based from personal experiences, that meant a lot for me to portray that kind of character. Yeah. You know, because often we are very quick to judge by what we see, without taking the time to get to know and understand who the person is. So I think Ibrahim forces you to actually take a good look of who he is. And who he is not what society think he is, a criminal. Is not that at all.
Did you think that you were cast? Beautiful, thank you, yes. I hadn't thought about that, but do you think that he cast you because you want the audience at first to question, not trust Ibrahim, but then we start to all of a sudden notice what an angel this man is?
I mean, unfortunately, it's often that, you know, when you first see the image of someone like Ibrahim, you know, you sort of have your questions and your doubts. But it's based on a true story. So here we go.
Yeah. Blessy, tell us about, you worked on this project for many, many, many years. And you went against COVID, and you continue with the project. Can you tell us about the importance of telling the story today?
First of all, thank you all for coming and seeing my movie. I started this thought process in 2008. The book was released on, it's based on a novel. I adapted from the story from that novel. And also it's a true story that Najib is living in Kerala in the South India now. And also I started my scripting adaptation of the screenplay. I started on 2011 onwards. I took for 6 to 7 years for that, because very difficult to adapt a story from the novel, because novel is almost around 43 chapters, and you have to reduce things. And also in novel they have no continuity for the emotion and all, so we have to, and this Najib's psychologically they maintain the character, sustain his emotion, and it's very difficult to me for that. I added more sequence for that. I not follow the straight line from the novel. I added so many things with the interaction with the gods, and that's why the a small god is calling so many gods, and because I think I was interested in that. We people think that the human beings are only in the brain and knowledge and emotions and all, but from God's look and version, because all are similar, we and animals, everybody is similar in the world. So I try to give that kind of a spirit in all sequence. So that transformation, everything is done in schedule, and all. He lost around 70 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know,
Not
but
only he, that Hakim also, that young man also lost his weight. But in between, we started our shooting in 2018, but unfortunately in 2020, we all got, we are all in the hand of pandemic, COVID and all. And that time we all are in desert, almost 2 months.
Stuck in the desert, actually.
Stuck in the desert.
Just 14 days of shooting, and after that we got
That
stuck.
time, that the protagonist, the Najib Prithviraj Sukumaran, he controlled his weight around 70 pounds, and but we maintained. He tried to shoot more shots without Jimmy and all, but again we started on 22. We finished the work like that. It's like Najib's story, we have a story about to make
72 days we were in the desert, same like Najib.
yeah, it's
While COVID was, everything was uncertain. We couldn't fly back, and shooting was also not happening. Like,
A follow-up, Blessy. Sorry. Blessy, follow up the fact that you don't emphasize the spectacle, you emphasize the emotional landscape of the actors. So you emphasize what's happening in the eyes of the actors. Do you understand? My question is the emphasis on the emotional landscape of the story as opposed to the spectacle.
That is, it's, I think Prithviraj Sukumaran is an actor, Indian actor. He's a director also. Very difficult to come down, shut down the confidence level, because he's very brilliant actor, and in the day by day he's losing his energy, losing his confidence in his eyes, and that we can make up a lot of things in face and all, but we can reduce the confidence level in his eyes is very difficult to me. In script, I wrote the energy level of all sequence.
Wow.
For these three characters, because day by day they are losing their weight, they are not having any food or water, so they are deteriorating all day by day. So I point out this much energy only need for this scene. Mm-hmm. That kind of a scripting I done for that.
Wow. I want to ask about the lighting, Sunil. How difficult was it to light the desert? In particular, I was struck by the evening sequences where you must not have had any lighting but moon to light the desert. Can you tell us about the difficulties?
We had a couple of night sequences actually, and back in India when we planned, we knew that it was very difficult to light the entire desert in the night. So we planned all the night sequences on a full moon day. We got 3 full moon days actually, and before and after 2 days also we got as a buffer. So we shot all the night sequence on a full moon day. We cranked the camera with a low light sensitivity, and like that. Most of it's natural light only, mostly of the sequences. Just a light fill we gave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to say that it was 150 days shoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got some 4 or 5 full moon days, I believe. Yep.
And then, Blessy mentioned that this is a 3-actor. For most of the time, it's only 3 actors. Was that a challenge for you, the fact that you have the desert and only 3 humans to light?
Yes, it was we selected the desert also in such a way that it's not very boring. Initially, the first part where Najib is stuck, it's a desert with the hill that was shot in Wadi Rum in Jordan. And later on, when they move and when they go to the vast desert, it's in Sahara, where we start with the flat desert, then we change the terrain to a uphill desert and more kind of, we used to do that actually, kind of changing the terrain.
Yeah.
And also, we changed this speed also from
To make
24
the
frames
energy
to
level low, we overcrank the camera like 25 frames,
26,
26,
27,
27.
28
Day by day, the camera also changed the speed actually
for
to reduce their
feel
energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jean, the fact you had to learn Arabic
Yes, indeed.
for the performance. Can
Very
you
tough.
tell us that challenge, and also, the weather, sandstorms? Walk us through the vicissitudes of shooting this role.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty rough. I'm pretty good at languages because I do speak French, English, Spanish, Italian, and Creole, but I don't speak Arabic. So I had to learn that from scratch. I did have a coach, which was very helpful. And shooting in the desert is not an easy feat, Once you're there, you realize how small you are.
All you are.
Yeah, definitely within the space. And it was hot. It was windy. For example, some of the scenes, such as the sandstorm, because we shot in a real sandstorm, and I
We
tend
were
to
planning
say
to
that
shoot with the 3 chopper, but once we land to Sahara, we got to know nothing is going to happen with this chopper because it's so wide, and so luckily we got a sandstorm, the real sandstorm, and we shot in the real
luckily
sandstorm.
for them,
Luckily.
because as you know, you live in America, that will never fly. The liability. And here I am in the middle
He's
of a
very adamant on
sandstorm,
that, actually.
carrying someone trying to make a scene, and our director here will keep saying, keep shooting,
We were all with goggles, and this guy is hats off. I don't know.
But hold on a second. Walk us through. You're planning to shoot at Sandstorm, and how did you plan ahead? Were you just waiting for a sandstorm
We
to
got to
come?
know from the Bedouins actually. They told because that was a summer to winter to summer changing time, so there should be a sandstorm coming. So we were warned actually. So we prepared for that actually. So luckily we got one sandstorm, and he was very adamant.
You guys have no idea how difficult it is
We
to
never
shoot.
knew how it's going to come.
That thing hurts.
Yeah, it's like
But it's
like
amazing that the
piercing
fact
needle.
that-
The
How do
sand.
you plan for a sandstorm?
We don't know anything about the sandstorm. We just went in. It's like.
But your camera is amazing that it's capturing all of
So it's-
this.
it's-
But
it's all gone,
you
all
didn't know what was coming.
After the scene, if you take down the camera like this, all the sand, you can see the sand flowing from the camera. Like
The thing is, you cannot rehearse a sandstorm. You only face it once it's there, and you have to deal with it.
Okay.
And we dealt with it.
I love that Blessy's just sitting there going like, oh, yeah.
Nobody gets it. Like it's all are floating around. Actually, it's like huge.
All your
It's-
fault, Blessy.
I was mad last 10, 11 years for this, so I feel it's a war.
That's
Shooting is
true.
not that's only thing. I feel it's a war. We have to do the maximum.
Yeah.
We get the product.
And you cannot touch each other.
Let's mention that Blessy is a very renowned director in South India.
Of
and in
course,
India.
yeah.
And from 2008, he put everything aside to do this single movie. So he waited like 15 to 16 years. So with his kind of energy, I think everybody felt like we had to match his desire to accomplish that movie. So it didn't matter what we had to go through, we just accepted. Because we had a leader that was willing to sacrifice 15 years of his life for one movie. So, you know, going through a sandstorm became...
Tell us about working with Prithvi, the lead actor. He had to commit a decade for this role, and he lost weight and gained weight, and what was it working?
Yeah, I mean, big up to Prithviraj, because he lost up to 60 pounds to shoot this movie, and then COVID came, so he had to be himself again, and then had to lose more weight 2 years later to continue shooting. And that's not easy,
But at the beginning of the movie, he had to gain weight to
He had gained weight.
Yeah.
About 98 kg, I don't know the pounds.
Yeah, and he's a extremely well-known actor in India.
Correct.
So
yeah.
he did the job. He did the job, and really, it's a shame he's not here so he can speak for himself. But really excellent actor.
No,
and
I've
what a
seen him
pleasure.
in films before, and he's very lively character. Blessy, what was it about him that that could contain this performance and not, I mean, he barely has any language to speak. It's all in his eyes and the physicality.
I think every actor, not only in Prithviraj, in Ibrahim Kadri, Hakim, all us have something new in their life, because we can experience these kind of characters, or we can we don't have any study for that and all. So this once in lifetime is coming, this kind of behavior patterns and all. So these guys all are research, I think, more very, because in Ibrahim Kadri also, I said he's like a Moses, because for he saved somebody from the desert and all. So his smile, his behavior, everything is he he is sharing his boot, his cloth, like Jesus or something like that. So, but he is a criminal also. But everybody
We
has
think.
two layers, maybe. Sometimes we are good to human being, and some circumstances will force to do some crimes and all like that. So too much psychological things is happening in all characters, I think so.
Tell us about working with one of the greatest composers in cinema, A.H. Rahman, who wrote the score and the songs for your film.
It's a very, very challenging and very beautiful experience with A.R. Rahman's composing and all, because if we are all in a team, everybody knows the spirit of the film. What the film is talking to audience or thing, because this story has some hope for everyone. From the last breath, you have to keep our hope because of faith.
Yeah.
So that I think he portrayed very beautifully in movie, and also I think the strength of our movie also is the music.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful score. Jean-Louis, tell us about why do you want the takeaway for people watching this film?
Well, I guess you have to have the faith, you know. At the end of the day, regardless on what you're going through, you just have to keep believing, and anything is possible. And I had the pleasure to meet Najib,
The original.
Najib, and we screened the movie for him in India. And I could see in his eyes that, you know, as he's watching the movie, he's reliving the experience.
Wow.
So now it went full circle for him, you know, from someone who had struggled to becoming the hero of the nation. And he's just sitting there, just watching and almost crying. But I think he's too proud to let the tears go down. But, you know, you could see it in his eyes. And that was very powerful for me to witness that, you know. And yeah, so I think it's definitely a movie of hope, faith, humanity, and yeah, it's there's a lot to take away, I think.
And Blessy and Sunil, the film feels so timely, although, you know, it's very specific about a moment in history, but we're still dealing with immigration issues and ultimately about, you know, finding hope in our everyday life. Did you always understand the universality of the story? The timeliness of the story?
The story is happening in the 90s, early 90s in Kerala and the Middle East and all. I think now we are facing another kind of kafila system, only that is converted to CEO, employee, like that. Because the all working field is, everybody is facing and this kind of torturing and all. But not in everywhere, in a few cases only it's happening. But it's a real story.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to add that we've always dealt with immigration. We've always dealt with human flow from one continent to another one.
Yes.
Even here in America, there's been a moment where there was a human flow, because most of the people here came from somewhere else. And it's a huge subject matter that is sometimes not well understood when people are going to a different place for, you know, for a better life, you know, to say the least. And I think if we make an effort to try to understand who they are and where they come from and why they're fleeing where they come from, we'll have a better understanding of who we are and better communication and better understanding amongst ourselves. So I think the human flow has always been around, you know, in our society. You know, from Africa to here, from Europe to here, from here to there, you know, it's always been moving, and it will continue to move. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. We can't stop that.
Correct.
Now it's understanding the reasons behind any movement from point A to point B, understanding the people from point A to point B, and maybe then there might be a better
empathy and
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, well said. Thank you to three of us for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Amazing film. Thank you.